Loudwire Live. My name is Chuck Armstrong. I am the host of the radio show Loudwire Nights, joined, as always, now I can say as always, by Matt Wardlaw, host of Ultimate Classic Rock Nights with ultimateclassicrock.com. Matt, good to see you, man.
What's happening, man? This is like the 12th one of these we've done this month, and I surprisingly do not get tired of seeing you. It's great to see you.
Yeah, it feels like we've been at this for a long, long time, man.
Veterans.
That's
Yes.
right. Well, listen, we did this a week ago talking all about Rush. I think we spent
Yeah.
30 plus minutes just talking about Rush and recap the week on Friday, more Rush talk, but also a few other things. And it just seems like I think when we ended that chat on Friday, we both were like, "Oh man, we forgot this. We forgot this. We forgot this." And so figured, you know what? Let's kick the week off and let's touch base. So, listen, first off, how was your weekend? Did you do anything?
It was really good. I got to be honest. What did I do? That's a great question. I No, that's the short answer is I did not. I will say I did not have the cool weekend you had because unlike last weekend where I was hanging out with Getty and Alex, I was not hanging out with Getty and Alex this past weekend, but you were hanging out with Getty.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. So I was definitely setting you up. I didn't care what you did this weekend, but I want to tell you what I did this weekend. And that is yeah, man. Getty Lee was in Kansas City this past Saturday. And this event was announced before the tour was announced and everything. But he came to the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum, which is based in Kansas City, right? It's part of the Jazz Museum too. Really cool historic area in Kansas City. And for those who don't know, a couple of things. One, Getty Lee is a massive baseball fan. I think that's pretty common, uh,
Huge.
very well known. But about almost 20 years ago, donated 400 individually autographed Negro Leagues baseballs to the
Which I
museum.
didn't know that. That was a surprise. Like, what a huge, cool donation.
Just absolutely massive and kind of like a one of a kind collection, and it's become a permanent display at the museum. And so there's the Getty Lee collection of baseballs at this museum, and it's been there since 2008. And so when he released his new book this year, 72
Yep.
stories about his baseball collection, um, he was tapped with, "Hey, would you like to do a conversation at the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum?" And Getty was like, "Yeah, of course I would." And it was when they were talking, they said this was really the only thing that he's doing for this book. And so just super cool for him to be there in Kansas City celebrating this, especially days after the Rush announcement.
Yeah, and huge crowd came out, like 500 people. Like it looked massive,
Yeah,
the pictures that you shared. And the thing
yeah,
I love about all this, Chuck, is that through all this, like whether he's been there at the museum or at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, like he's been going to Blue Jays games as they've been in the playoffs through all of this. And so he was at a Blue Jays game the night before the Rock Hall thing. He did the thing at the museum there in Kansas City on Saturday. And sadly, we need to express our condolences to Getty because on Sunday he was there to watch the Blue Jays lose to the Mariners. So
that's right.
Getty had a tough night last night, but like
That's right, man.
that's what I love is that like he has been on tour in a sense because he's been doing Getty Lee things or Rush things interspersed with going and seeing ball games.
That's right, man. That's right. And he'll keep doing it. And he had a really cool story, talking about just doing Getty Lee things interspersed with, other stuff. Uh how he grew up loving baseball, but then he really sort of had this moment of falling back in love with it when he was touring with Rush in the 70s. And he's like, I'd be in the hotel and a Cubs game or a Braves game would be on and I would just watch it. And he's like, he just
Yeah.
fell in love with it. And all of a sudden, interspersed with all the Rush stuff, he found himself every chance he could, be in front of the TV watching these games and just fell back in love with it. And so, really, really cool to hear that. And to imagine like, man, this guy's been doing this, doing the Rush thing for so long, doing the baseball thing for so long. And it all kind of came together in Kansas City on Saturday.
Yeah, and I think that's something that you and I talked to these folks about is that like that's one thing that a lot of people don't necessarily think about is that like these musicians, they have so much free time out on the road. So I know that one of my
Yeah.
favorite topics to get into get into with them is, what are you doing while you're out there on the road? Like, what do you collect? Do you go to record stores? And like, it's really fascinating when you have a guy like Getty. And I believe, like, you talked about the 400 baseballs that he donated there in Kansas City. I think he's gotten rid of like significant parts of his other collection in recent years as well. So like, that was just one kind of smallish part of his collection, but he had
Yeah.
a huge collection at one point. So out of all the people that like collect things and do things when they're out on the road, whether it's, collecting things like that or going to ballparks, whatever it is, like, his collection definitely is one of the more fascinating things that I think that only in recent years, and certainly with this new book of his, have people really kind of started to become aware of that side of Getty Lee. And it's super cool.
That's right. Well, listen, man, got to give a shout out to some people. I see Daniel is on and a few other people.
Producer
Kevin,
Daniel.
Colonel from Carolina, Olga from Poland, who we've been praying to the rock gods that Rush will get to Poland or Europe next year or in 27. So Olga, we
Yeah.
we still got your back. Rabab, as we've called out, you're our number one fan. But while you're all here, got to tell you, as we're talking about Rush, we have got a killer contest. We're giving away a trip for two people, for a winner and a guest to go to Chicago. We'll fly you to Chicago, put you up in a hotel for a couple of nights, and we're going to get you a pair of tickets into their July 18th show at the United Center. All you got to do is go to loudwire.com or ultimateclassicrock.com and get entered to win. And then when you're done entering to win, go to our stores. Both UCR and Loudwire have online stores, and they're filled with merch, t-shirts, hats, coffee mugs, beer mugs, that kind of stuff. Also, thousands and thousands of records. And so you can start flipping through records and add to your collection, like Rush. We got tons of Rush vinyl that you should definitely add to your collection. And as if this wasn't good enough, getting entered to win a trip to Chicago, having thousands of records at your disposal. We also want you to save some money because, come on, we get it.
That's what we do.
Uh,
We're
and
caring
I have a
people.
very special discount code called Chuck15. If you use that as your promo code, you'll save 15%. Chuck15. Wardlaw, I don't, you might have something
It
like
doesn't
that,
matter.
but
I do. I'll give it out. It's Wordlaw 15. But let me tell you something, Chuck. I actually used your discount code over the weekend. I didn't get a chance to tell you this, but I used the code Chuck15 at store.loudwire.com to get you a little something. I don't know if you know this, but we also have like books in the store, but also there's coffee. And Cannibal Corpse has their official coffee, their official beheading and brewing coffee. And I bought you, like, I don't know, like 5 bags of that stuff, like with the 15% code.
a
I
pallet of it.
figured if he drinks yes, a pallet. I figured if Chuck drinks this, great. If he doesn't, it was that much cheaper because of the discount code. So enjoy it. And even if you don't, I don't care.
Well, all right. Well, first off, thank you, man.
You're welcome.
Secondly, listen, you mentioned books, and you're a
Yeah.
book guy, and I don't mean that as a I don't know
You
what
call
that
me a
means.
nerd?
I'm not trying to make fun of you, but you're a book guy, man. You read a ton of books, lots of memoirs, lots of music history, and writing about it. You talk to the authors, that kind of thing. Obviously, last week Ozzy's final memoir came out. What else is on the radar for you, book wise?
Well, I tell you what, it's super cool. I think I might have mentioned this very briefly last week, but tonight on the radio show, I'm going to be talking to the guys that wrote this wonderful book, Buzz Me In, inside the Record Plant Studios. And if you think of an album that is in your collection, there's like a 1 in 5 chance it was recorded there. Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction, Jimi Hendrix, the Electric Ladyland record actually was not recorded at Electric Ladyland. It was recorded at the record plant. Like, just all of these albums, like crazy albums. So got into some Eagles, Hotel California. So got into some good stories with those guys that we're going to share tonight and dig further into on the radio show. So, and then the other thing is, I was very surprised to learn that, Chuck, you are a monster Oasis fan. I did not see this coming. I have to be honest. But there is this book which hits stores tomorrow. Oasis, Trying to Find a Way Out of Nowhere. Jill Furmanovsky is the author, but also the photographer. And it's kind of a cool story because basically she linked up with these guys one time back in '94 as they're just starting to get going. they needed like a photographer or something like that. They hit it off, and so she ends up literally photographing them for their entire career, and still is photographing them here in present day with the reunion tour. So she has this coffee table book that is coming out tomorrow, and Noel Gallagher wrote the forward. So it's got all these cool photos from back in the day all the way to present day. And kind of her thing is that she shoots in black and white. So I've been having a blast checking out all those photographs. But Chuck, as you know, the way these things go, man, also just like going down the rabbit hole, listening to a ton of Oasis albums, which I got to be honest, I'm not sure all of it is appropriate for your little one's ears, but maybe some of it. Maybe he, maybe Champagne Supernova's okay. That one might be okay.
Well,
So,
listen,
but yeah, short. Yeah, go ahead.
I gotta say, just please buy vinyl from the Loudwire
Yes,
store, and please use the
yes,
Chuck 15 promo code for this little boy's sake, all right? For this little guy's sake. Listen, you made fun of me calling me a Monster fan,
I
uh,
did.
and
Not true at
yeah,
all.
this came out. Matt, you and I talk constantly, and probably too much, right?
Probably.
Yeah, and you didn't know this about me until a couple days ago. I'm not a huge Oasis fan. I'm not I'm not a hater by any
Yeah,
means. You know,
yeah.
if I had to if someone handed me a pair of tickets to see this reunion tour, yeah, I would go and have a great time. But I don't spend any time listening to them. I don't spend any time thinking about them. And yeah, man, so it's kind of weird. I feel like I'm pretty unique in that sense. Like people who I'm shocked or who I would never expect to be Oasis fans, huge Oasis fans, and just going nuts over this reunion tour and everything. And so, yeah, it's I don't know. I feel like kind of crazy, like I missed the boat or something.
Wasn't it interesting? It was almost like Metallica levels watching basically everybody that you and I work with going to the Oasis shows, and there were not a ton of them here in the US, but it seems like everybody that we know, either whether we work with them here or, whether it's just like folks that we deal with, like everybody was at Oasis shows. So it was pretty crazy, man. I got to be honest, like even as somebody that is a fan, you had like Las Vegas odds makers going, is this thing going to fall apart before they play a show? Are
Yeah,
they going to fight and break up on stage? Like all of these things seem possible for anybody that's paid attention to Oasis over the past 30 plus years. So I love the fact, and I've got a piece going up that's going to be at Ultimate Classic Rock tomorrow with a gallery of photos from this book where we talk about it. But like instead, like these guys walk out for the first show arm in arm like prize fighters, and there was just this good vibe that has stayed throughout the entire tour. And you know what, man? I think you know that I have like a warm heart. I like to make people think it's a cold heart, but I have that warm heart that seeing these guys war for all the years that they did, I kind of like that it really does seem like yes, the money doesn't help when it comes the money doesn't hurt when it comes to this reunion tour, but it really does seem like they have fixed their relationship as brothers. I kind of love that.
yeah, that's a good way to put it, man. And listen, I know we've got Oasis vinyl in our stores, so
We do.
maybe,
Get you some, as they say.
yeah,
Use
maybe
the
I'll
code
maybe
WARDLAW15. I mean, try it out.
maybe I'll get you.
WARDLAW15, WARDLAW15. It's easy. The more you hear it, the more complicated it gets, but really, WARDLAW15. And if you want to take the easy way out, okay, fine, Chuck 15. Use that instead.
That's right, man. No, listen, I'll give you all the credit. I'll give you all the credit for Oasis, man. So, but yeah, I might have to add that to my collection. I know we got some in the store, so
Yeah. Did you see the incredible shows that Sammy played for his birthday bash over the weekend at Cabo Wabo? Like, oh my God, like Jerry
unbelievable.
Cantrell singing Ain't Talking About Love, Sammy doing lead vocals on Man in the Box. He had, Belinda Carlisle from the Go-Go's, Dean Castronova from Journey. I know that our guy Phil X was there, like Zach Throne, who plays with like Bruce Kulick and I think Gene Simmons as well. Like he was there. Like it was just a monster weekend. I think he's got one more show for his actual birthday tonight. But we should have been we should have been hanging out with Sammy Hagar. That's the short version, man.
That's it, man. And yeah, we gotta wish Sammy Hagar a very happy birthday today, October 13th, man.
Yeah, man.
And yeah, we talked about this on Friday, but we both gotten to spend some time with Sammy recently talking about his residency in Vegas, the best
Yep.
of all worlds, and the upcoming residency in Vegas in 2026. And he was on Loudwire Nights Friday night. We talked all about that, man. Also talked about one of the things he wants to achieve. And, he's done so much in his life. And he was very open, very honest about wanting to get in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame as a solo
Yeah.
artist. Just brutally honest, and wasn't ashamed. He's like, guilty as charged. That's what I want. And so that was cool to hear that. And then also, man, um, just hearing him talk about his performance at Back to the Beginning, as he
Yeah.
paid tribute to Ozzy. He wasn't happy, wasn't very, wasn't very happy with his performance, but you could tell it maybe bothers him a little, but it's not like
Yeah,
keeping him
sure.
down or anything like that.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just really cool to see that. And then yeah, and then all weekend long, I guess we missed our invites to the birthday party. But just absolutely incredible, man, to see that. And you forget one, I mean, it's not a shock, but yeah, Sammy Hagar's friends with everybody, man. And
Yeah.
he's always been a huge proponent, huge fan of Tool, and so cool to see him with Jerry Cantrell doing that, and um, just really really amazing, man. I think Joey Belladonna was there maybe too from Anthrax.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Just a wild. It looks a little different than my birthday parties. I don't know about you, man.
It does, and you mentioned how he's been a proponent for new music over the years, but, like, Jerry Cantrell, like, Sammy told me a story at one point about how, like, when Alice in Chains went out and were opening, on one of their first tours for Van Halen on the For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge tour, Sammy said that they were opening their set with Man in the Box, and he basically, like, pulled Lane and Jerry aside, was like, "What are you guys doing? That's a closer song. You gotta move that. That's gotta be your last song of the set." So,
Yeah.
like, he's always been somebody that has kind of, like, mentored folks. So, like, there as you say, there's a lot of layers to Sammy. You mentioned something I don't wanna get too far away from, and that is Ozzy Osbourne, man. Like, what'd you think of this? We forgot to talk about this on Friday, but what'd you think about, the new Ozzy documentary?
Yeah, I think it's fantastic. I was really impressed with it. I mean, I had very positive expectations for it. I think some
Yeah.
people went into it thinking like, "Oh man, they're really milking, milking Ozzy for all he's worth," and I never got that sense. It
No.
seemed like, and he was a willing participant in all of that, and pretty heavy, to go through the
Mhm.
final days, final moments, and for me, having been at Back to the Beginning, it was really special to see that be a part of it and captured. And I will have to say, my love and appreciation for the documentary definitely uh, grew uh, around an hour 59 minutes. And if you blink, you'll miss it, but you'll see me in the crowd. It was
I
pretty
was happy I
amazing.
blinked right then. I was happy I missed
Yes,
it.
yes. Standing next to Joe DeVita, the editor in chief for Loudwire.com.
Yeah.
But yeah, we caught it for just a split second, but really cool to to be memorialized in that sort of way, alongside Ozzy, of course. But I mean, Matt, what do you think, man, as you watched it?
I thought it was super cool. There was a lot that I wasn't aware of, even when he was, like, doing that performance at the Commonwealth Games, like, I wasn't really aware. We just had kinda like this visual that Ozzy wasn't very mobile in his final years, and it's like he really was stronger than I realized through a lot of that, and even just seeing how, kind of mobile and full of life he was at that Commonwealth Games performance with Tony Iommi was super cool to see, and then just kind of the footage that came after that where it's like Sharon just pointed out how, like, energized he was by that, and she's like, he was walking better than he had in weeks and was
Yeah,
walking without a cane and just like so I think we really got this was no surprise, but I think we really got some perspective of just how much the music gave Ozzy life and kept him going, and I really enjoyed, seeing the footage of him, working on the last couple records with Andrew Watt and just,
yeah,
obviously, like, anytime you see Chad Smith behind the drums, man, it's just like it was cool, just seeing him bashing it out and just, you know, the life and energy that he was taking from Ozzy, getting a chance to work with one of his heroes. So I just thought I kind of went into the documentary with certain expectations, and I knew it was going to be well done, as you said, but like I just thought the thing was pretty exceptional, and I thought it was pretty open and real. And
yeah,
what that really drew me into, Chuck, was you mentioned the Last Rites book earlier, but it's just like the book is a really good companion piece to that. Look at that visual aid. Um, and what I appreciate about the Last Rites book that I'll mention to folks if they don't have that is that I think that's I think kind of the perception is that maybe that is, kind of a documentation of his more like his final years. Jack Osborne said it's like the last 20 years or so, but what's really cool about that book is really it kind of goes through his whole career. Like it's got some really cool like anecdotes of him talking about meeting Steve Marriott from Humble Pie, like when Humble Pie and Black Sabbath were playing shows together in 1972. So it kind of bounces all through the decades. So even though it's been presented as like this is kind of a sequel to I Am Ozzy, like recapping the last 20 years that came after that, like it really is more than that. And so anybody that's an Ozzy fan, like you're gonna
Yeah.
dig this thing up. It's just a super cool read. So there we
That's
go.
right, man, and I wanna give a shout out to everybody watching right now too, and if
Yeah,
you've ever got any questions or comments, man, toss them in the
we're
chat,
your nerds. Yeah, toss them in.
yeah, we're always ready to do that and hear from you. But yeah, just if you've ordered the book, if you've read the book, if you watched the doc, man, you know what we're talking about. If you haven't yet, then it's definitely something to do. I think something to add to your to do list. You will not be disappointed with either, like you said, great companion pieces to each other. And Yeah, it's amazing to see Ozzy's legacy and life just continue on like this. Of course, his legacy's never it's not going anywhere, but still learn new things and see him in different lights and all of that. It's it's a pretty special way to follow the tragedy of losing Ozzy.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if somebody wants a quick primer on the book, I'll just throw in also that we, put up something last week that basically is like 10 things we learned from the Last Rites book. So there's that kind of as kind of a cliff notes thing to kind of lead you down the path. Something else that we went up on the Loudwire side of things in the past few days that I really dug was you guys have a new list that Lauren put out there basically of kind of vinyl records that, or I should say, seminal albums from like the 2000s that people should have on vinyl. And Chuck, like I don't think it feels this way, but it becomes more clear each day that all right, year 2000 was actually a long time ago. And but there was like a lot of good music happening. It's like, stuff like uh, through those like the decade, the kind of those couple of decades, like say the late 90s into the 2000s, but like stuff like Deftones White Pony, of course, Linkin Park, Hybrid Theory, Papa Roach, like there's all these great records coming out. So I really appreciated that list that she put up. And that's all stuff that regrettably is available using your code Chuck15. Hate to use that word again, but Chuck15, if you plug that in at store.loudwire.com,
Yeah.
each of the albums that she talks about, folks can grab. So if you're like me, where it's just like you are a little bit deficient and still need to fill in some gaps there, your CD has seen better days. Now is a good time to, jump in and check that out.
It is a pretty amazing list, man, and you forget, like, just the massive size of these records from, everything from, like, Linkin Park's Hybrid Theory and Papa Roach's Infest, but, also, like, yeah, Audioslave, like, their album, man,
Yeah.
their debut album, and A Perfect Circle's 13th Step, which, is fantastic, which I actually don't have on vinyl, and so I might have to add that
See,
to, so I'm gonna use my own discount code. But yeah, it's a really solid list. Listen, I think we should probably wrap up,
we
but I
should.
got to go to Daniel, who dropped a great question in, and there's an extreme close up. I don't know what's going on. Uh,
I
if
love
you
it.
had to play one song for someone who isn't a Rush fan to help them become a Rush fan, what song would it be? And Jedi commented and said, "Enter Sandman," which I don't think is a is an appropriate response. But Matt, what song would you play for someone?
That's a great question. Tom Sawyer's a pretty obvious one, but so I'd probably start there. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Tom Sawyer. What
Yeah,
about
I
you?
I think that may be Free Will, because I think Free Will
Yes.
just kinda gets into it just kinda like Tom Sawyer, like, just captures a lot of different aspects of the band. I mean, any of those hits, right? I think Spirit of Radio would be great. I think Limelight would be great. Closer to the
Closer to the
Heart,
heart.
Fly By Night. I mean, just look at their best of album, and
Mhm.
any one of those songs probably would be great. And so I don't know, Daniel, you probably have an answer. Daniel's one of the biggest Rush fans I know, and I'm sure he's got something banging around in his head. But listen, as we wrap up, we started talking about this. We're gonna end talking about this. We're giving away a trip for two to Chicago to see Rush on July 18th. If you go to loudwire.com or ultimateclassicrock.com, you can get entered to win. It'll take you about 10 seconds to enter. And if you're up for it, share a memory with us. We've gotten thousands and thousands of entries, which means thousands and thousands of people have shared their own personal Rush memories. and it's been a lot of fun kind of collectively celebrating the Rush 50 something tour that's kicking off next year. And once you're done with that, then go to store.loudwire.com or store.ultimateclassicrock.com and buy all the Rush albums. That's my push for you.
This is something I don't know, Chuck. Am I able to buy the Metallica pinball machine behind you? Can I buy that from the store? No.
I don't
It's
know,
worth a
but
try, right?
if it's in there, definitely use Chuck 15 or Wardlaw 15 to get 15% off. No, I don't think it's in there, man. We got a lot of Metallica stuff though, including that massive load box set that you and I both
Yes.
have. And so yeah, hang on to those discount codes.
You know what? Let's make a pact here, Chuck Armstrong. The next time we
Uh-oh.
get together, let's get that load box set out and let's show people what that looks like because you and I already have it, which just means that other people can get their copies. We're almost, we're being courteous by leaving it in the store so they can buy. We bought ours already
That's right.
to leave it for them. So but we should show people what that looks like because that's definitely one of my highlights of the year as far as stuff that's come out.
Dude, I love that idea. I love that idea. So let's
All right.
yeah, we'll do this again. So thank you guys for watching on whether you're on YouTube or Facebook, on Loudwire or UCR, whatever it is. Appreciate your time and we'll keep doing this. And so keep coming with your love and your passion for rock and roll, your questions, whatever it is. And we'll be here to talk about all of it. So thank you, Matt. Always good to see you, brother.
Likewise, man. Take care.